My name is Christian Lee. I'm part of Aztec Music Group, and I'm here with. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Sam. I play in a band called the Paper Kites.
It's all right. And how are you doing today, Sam?
I'm good, man. Good. Nice to be in San Diego and get some sun. It's good.
And I know, I think there's some similarities between San Diego and where you're from, correct?
A little bit. Melbourne can get very hot in the summer, but
It's pretty hot right now.
yeah. But I think it kind of stays nice in San Diego all the time, whereas Melbourne's like 4 seasons in one day kind of thing. But yeah, I mean we have a great music scene in Melbourne as well, and yeah. But we're stoked to be playing here. House of Blues is like a famous venue for us in Australia, so it's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I know, everyone knows that AC/DC is from Australia.
Yep.
But then there's a lot of, good bands coming from, of course, Tame Impala, your band, and some other ones too.
There's heaps,
so
man.
crazy.
There's like, I think more and more Australian bands are starting to be recognised over here. I think that's just
I'm really
Spotify's really
yeah.
changed things. Like it's really kind of leveled the playing
I
field.
helped you guys a lot, yeah.
Big time, man, big time. But you got artists like Courtney Barnett and
Right.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Oh,
those
yeah.
guys. Even like great singer-songwriters like Julia Jacqueline, bands like Gang of Youths. Like all those guys are kind of getting over here and playing great shows and selling out shows. It's great, There's always been a good music scene in Australia, but I think, as you say, like people think about AC/DC and kind of like that hard rock of the 80s and 70s, but now it's very eclectic, like almost every genre is covered in Australia, and there are great bands doing it. So yeah, it's great that people are kind of getting to know them over here, I think. Yeah.
And I know, I think a band that's actually coming that you guys toured with before, they're actually coming to San Diego soon too, Boy and Bear.
Yeah, they're coming here?
Yeah, I
Great,
think in mid-October.
We actually, one of our very first tours in Australia, they took us out on the road, and that was like the first time we'd ever really been on tour, and we love those guys, so if you get a chance to check them out.
Great, yeah, I love their music.
Yeah, they have a really good story too. They were out of action for a few years because Dave, the singer, was really unwell, and they weren't kind of sure whether they were going to get back up on their feet, but now they're touring again, and like their new album is really good.
It's a great story.
Mm.
Okay, and then, so, right now you're in San Diego, and I know this is the last stop of your, California part of the tour.
Yeah.
And I think you guys next, I just looked it up, you guys are moving on to Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what's the difference, what do you like most about, coming over playing in America and just, traveling through, all these different cities? Like the food, the culture?
It's a bit of everything. We're now, because we've been here a few times, we're starting to get, our favorite food places in cities and things like that. But I think it's the audiences are always very appreciative that we've come over. I think aside from actually playing the shows, like getting to meet people, and I think just hearing about the various connections they have to our songs. I think you don't really realize that you have any kind of effect on people until you get to talk to them and hear what's kind of going on for them. So all these cities we get to play, I think talking to people is probably our favourite part, which we've been getting to do a lot on this tour. So but aside from that, the food is also great. We're looking forward to going down south and barbecue land.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, and let's talk about your music for a little bit. And so the band essentially dropped what was basically a double disc, a double album last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've seen your music videos. I've listened to some of your past albums too. But I feel like each album progressively gets a little bit more, I would say, cinematic in a way.
Okay.
And that one actually, I felt like it had more of a theme that tied with each other as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what influenced you for last year's albums?
I think it had been coming for a while because I hadn't written anything since we finished the record before that, which was 12/4. So we'd just been touring a lot. We've been traveling, getting to see a lot of different cities. And when you get to those cities, often we just sort of split off and everyone would do their own thing. So, you kind of start getting very, very familiar with the train systems in that city or whatever kind of public transport. And for me anyway, a lot of just walking around, because that's really all you can do when you don't know the city that you're in, is just kind of walk around. And I think I just really enjoyed kind of watching people just living their lives, and at the same time, you know, when you're taking this public transports, like no one's really talking to each other. Everyone's just kind of
Doing their own thing.
doing their own thing. Like we've all got the same things going on for us, but no one's talking to each other. Everyone's just in their own little bubble, and it's quite amazing just to sort of sit up and observe that. Like it's this weird kind of like lack of connection, but we are still all very much connected in that, you know, we do have the same things going on for us. So yeah, I think in these albums it's kind of exploring those themes, just people's stories really, and it all kind of came together when we were staying in New York, and we had a night in this hotel. We kind of looked across the street, and you could see all these people kind of coming home from their nights. And I mean, I don't want it to sound weird, like we weren't being too, like, you know,
You guys weren't being creeps.
not too creepy,
Yeah.
but you just couldn't help but notice it. It was right there, and there were all these kind of different situations going on in these windows, and yeah, that was sort of the we imagined this fictional apartment where all these characters lived. So each song was kind of meant to be just a snapshot of that person's life. So that's kind of where it all came from, and that was also the decision to make 2 records, because it was all written at the same time, but it felt like 2 different albums. So that was the call. Let's just do an acoustic record, and we'll make this one a band record. But it's all the same world. It's all these same characters and stories. Yeah.
And I think I read an interview. I think it was when you were in the process of making 12/4.
Yep.
That like in the studio you were projecting like films.
Yeah, I still do that a little bit. It's really just like, it's just kind of an exercise in trying to get a certain kind of song out. You can get a little stuck sometimes, just in your own head. I think like bringing in something visual and writing something to fit that is just a helpful way to get a song out sometimes. Yeah.
And you know, obviously you're very musically inclined, and so I was wondering if you've ever thought about, you know, doing a score for a film or anything like that.
Funnily enough, like when I got out of school, that was what I went to study at university, was like writing for films, and I did a course in that for maybe like 2 years, and then I dropped out because I loved it, but I wanted to play more than I wanted to learn about it. And a lot of those people in that course was some of the most talented musicians that I've met, but a lot of them weren't necessarily doing anything with it. They were kind of, you know, learning about the art of composition, which is important, but I think it takes a little bit more to actually get out there and do it. And at the end of the day, I think I just thought, I feel like with music and composing, you probably don't need a degree that says you can do that. You know, I think it's more like what you know and how you compose. So yeah, I might come back to it at one point, but I'd love to do it. Yeah, definitely.
All right, and we're gonna go to a new segment of the interview.
Sure.
And this one, I guess it's like you know, a bittersweet that the rest of the band aren't here. So maybe I'll try to throw them under the bus or something.
I'll try my
but
best.
It's more of like a. Usually, it's this section's. If usually we have the whole band here, it's like
Yeah.
you get to like, you know, like how well do you know each other?
Yeah. Well, I know everyone pretty well.
All right.
So
Then I'll start with them, and then I'll end with you.
okay.
All right. So what can you tell me about the band? Let me see. It is called Best Before.
Ah, that is a band that I used to play in when I was a teenager, and that's actually how we all met. So me
Really?
and Dave and Raz all played in different kind of local punk bands, and just in the Melbourne scene, and we all used to play at each other's shows. And yeah, that's how we met, just kind of playing in those bands as kids. Yeah, so that's my old band.
And I assume the music you made in Best Before was a little bit different than what we have now.
Very different. Yeah, definitely.
All right. And I heard someone in the band one time he got, I think, trapped in like a water slide and went wild.
That was also me. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, look, the story goes that it was called the Aqua Loop, so it was like a slide that does a loop, and I was a little hesitant to go on the ride, but I did it, and they told you to like cross your arms and legs, and I just thought you had to do that to go really fast,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to go fast. So I didn't do it. I kind of just, when the trapdoor dropped out from under my, under your feet, I kind of went like that, and it slowed me right down, and I didn't quite make the aqua loop. Anyway, and I had to it was quite terrifying for a while because I was stuck in this slide, and I had no way of getting out. I thought someone's going to come shooting down after me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the band was watching me from the line, but you could kind of see through the tube a little, and they said I looked like a confused animal just kind of scurrying around in this water slide. Anyway, thank goodness they had cut an emergency exit hole in the slide. I kind of like popped out. Had to do the walk of shame past the line, and now every time we drive past that water park, just makes fun of me. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's make some fun of the other members now. All right. So, who in the band was in a band called 24 Feet?
That was Raz. That was Raz's old band. Yeah.
And so that was like another similar to yours.
Yeah, the same era. Yeah, definitely. And they were they were okay. Yeah. None of us obviously made it in those bands, so.
But you made it out. That's all that.
Yeah, we did. Right? We did.
Okay, and this one is actually my favorite name for a band. Which one of you guys was in a band called Sounds Like Chicken?
That was Dave, and they were actually really good. We thought. So me and Raz were like very big fans of Dave's old band, and we go and see them, and we were like kids, we were like 14, 15, and he was like a little older than us, and he was sort of this legend in the local scene. That band was like a legendary band, and we go see him, and I remember the first time meeting him being like really nervous, which is funny now because we play in a band together, but they were a great band. They kind of played like this ska, like it's sort of a mix of ska music and like kind of hardcore and like rapping over the top of it. It was crazy, and their shows were wild. People would always like, get the circle pits going. And people are always getting hurt, but it was a great time, And then we formed a band, and now he's not cool anymore. He's just a normal guy.
That's funny. Because, you guys make great music, but I would imagine not a lot of your fans would do circle pits around there.
No, not yet. We're trying to encourage more of it, but different times. Different times.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how big of you are a fan of 90s music?
90s music? I guess I'm a child of the 90s, but all the bands that I now think of when I think about 90s music, I wasn't exposed to, or I wasn't allowed to listen to them as a kid because my parents were quite hardline about bad language in music and things like that. So I had a lot of punk CDs, and I had a lot of what I deemed like quite risky CDs. Really, it was Limp Bizkit records and things like that I had to hide from my mum, and she found them one time and she snapped them all and just threw them all in the trash.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think maybe in my 20s some of those albums I bought again just to have them, really stick it to my mum. But there were some amazing bands in the 90s that have stood the test of time, but also some very depressing music in the 90s as well. So, but yeah.
Okay, well I actually have a gift for you.
Oh my gosh.
And so this one is more of the when you were a kid in the 90s, it was a little bit more friendlier for you. And I saw in an interview that you were a big fan of this.
Oh my goodness.
Fan, so let me look it up for you. It's actually, and it's always nice to have more clothes when you're on the road, right?
Oh my goodness.
And so, right here. It is a Hanson t-shirt.
Amazing. I don't know where you got that information, but 10-year-old me is going to wear this with pride. Look at that. That is amazing. Where did you find that?
What, the information or the shirt?
Well, both. The shirt, firstly.
The shirt?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good vintage clothing shops or thrift stores in San Diego.
Yeah.
And then the information I cannot disclose.
I feel like you had an inside word. That is brilliant, man. I love it.
You're welcome. And it's such a great shirt, too.
It is. I'm going to wear it tonight.
Perfect.
Not on stage, probably after the show.
Well, I'll still take that. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And actually, speaking of the shirt, this is the last segment we have for the interview. And I'm wearing a bunch of band shirts right now. And we're going to go through each one, and you just tell me what you think about them.
Oh my goodness. Are you just going to take them off as you go?
Yes.
All right. What happens when we get to the last one?
And that's the end of the interview.
Okay. All right.
All right, first one, I forgot to wear this one, but it's another Australian band called Hockey Dad.
Hockey Dad.
Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them. I do not know their music though. So.
Well, I think they're more of like a little bit more like more rock, punk centered.
Yeah.
And have you ever thought about going back to your roots and doing an album similar to that?
I think about that all the time.
Really?
The angsty, younger man in me thinks that I should probably be
It's never too late.
raging a little more. Maybe I will.
Punk never
Start
dies.
aside. It never dies, man. Yep. Just keep the faith.
All right, and let's talk about another popular band similar to yours, Tame Impala.
Tame Impala.
Have you ever met any of the Kevin Parker or anyone?
No,
like that
I've
before?
never met any of the guys. But they're doing huge things for Australian music. They're a great band. I think we're all pretty big fans in the band. But I think that they're the perfect example of like a huge export from Australia that everyone seems to know. Some people don't know they're from Australia, but they're a great band. Very very groovy tunes.
All right, on to the next one.
Here we go.
Oh gosh. And this one is actually a band called The Last Dinosaurs.
I'm pretty sure we did a show with those guys I think we did. Like, I'm going to say in the Philippines, but if it's the band I'm thinking of, they're very cool. Very cool band. Are they still playing together?
Yeah, they're actually coming to
No
San
way.
Diego too.
Oh, there you go.
October. That's why I love. There's so many Australian bands coming to America now.
Man, that's great. Yeah. If it's the band I'm thinking of, they're really cool guys. Yeah.
All right, this is the last one I believe that's from Australia. Is San Francisco.
We are on the same booking agency. I know that. Me personally, I've never met any of the guys from the band, but I know some of the other guys in our band have met them in Geelong, which is a little country town just outside of Melbourne. Yeah, but same again. Like they're one of those bands that everyone seems to love at the festivals and making cool music and doing really good things for Australian bands. So there you go. It's nice to see you supporting them.
Yeah, I love to support Australian bands, if you can tell.
Yeah, that's great.
And I feel like I've been a fan of theirs too, but I feel like they make similar music to you, but just a little bit more poppy.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I've ever seen them at a show before, but I've heard good things, and they're very big in Australia. Yeah, a lot of people really love them over there. So I hope to see them over here, like kind of making some waves.
Hopefully, you both play at an American festival.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
That'd be great, man. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for the Hanson T-shirt.
You're welcome.
I'll wear it with pride.
I'm glad to hear it. But before we turn off the camera, we just got to know, where can we find your music online? Where can we find you guys on social media?
We're on the Spotify. We're on the YouTube. Our Instagram is just the band name. And I think that's it. Yeah. Perfect. See you there.
All right. And last but not least, I'm going to get out of frame. And you can just look in the camera.
Yep.
And is there anything you'd like to plug or anything you have to say to your friends, fans, family?
No, just thank you for coming out and seeing us on the tour. We're working on some new music, and we'll be back again as soon as we can with some new records.